Hello and welcome back to Tommy's Top Picks Weekly Roundup Podcast, episode 184. I'm your host, Tommy, joined by John.
How's it going? You could say any number and I would believe it.
It's true.
Because every time you say it, I'm like, is that really the next one? Is that where we were? I don't even remember.
It is.
Sometimes I feel like you went backwards. Sometimes I feel like you jumped ahead. I'm sure you're doing it in order, but it always feels like it's not the right number.
Yeah, well, I have a preview thumbnail that I update every week, and it doesn't often change much. I did find new Spider-Man art this week.
So that's how you know, because
So,
you're looking at it.
so yeah, I just changed the number each week by one.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Hopefully I remember to do it every week. Otherwise, sometimes we
Maybe
do good episodes of the same number.
I wonder if that's happened.
Chances are not zero, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, exactly. What's the count actually going for?
It's this week. It's so we can buy more. We're secretly having extra episodes of the same
That's right.
number so that we can push off episode 200 where we have to review and actually do work for this podcast.
Yeah.
Because we're going to review episode 1, which I thought would be pretty cool. Or one of the first ones, one that we actually started getting our stuff together for.
Yeah. Sounds good.
But let's talk about, we got a lot to talk about this week before we get into our normal little stuff. There is no truth to the Spider-Man rumors. On the Playbox reprints, they will be reprinted. So yay, which is important because it's a standard box. And if standard boxes aren't able to get out, that's a problem.
No, we'll talk about that though.
Yeah, and we'll continue to talk about that. There was a couple good Morrow quotes that I want to go over. We want to go over, and that'll be fun. Talking about Universes Beyond and underestimating demand.
Yep.
But first, what we played. I played no Magic this week, but I was going to go to a Beyblade tournament on Friday, which I guess is in the trading card game community field now.
Weird.
And yeah, friends are getting into Beyblade. I was into Beyblades when I was a child and ruined a lot of my mom's mixing bowls because you let it rip and then this little metal pin at the bottom dents into the mixing bowl and it spins around.
That's how you ate so much plastic as a child. Is that?
It was a metal bowl, metal on metal.
Oh, a metal bowl? Oh. How did it mess it up then?
It's like one of those thin. I don't know. We also did it in the tub. Yeah, but supposedly there's a whole like all these rules and stuff to it now, and you have a deck, which confused me. It's not actually a deck; it's just three different Beyblades, and it's kind of like Pokemon, where you have like ones that are better against other ones, and then you have to put them in the right order. Physical ones, yeah.
Like, do they have a physical superiority or something?
Yes.
What is it, like weighted?
Like, yeah. There's like as you build the Beyblade with different parts. Some are more defense, some are more offense.
Okay.
It's a crazy thing.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, my household is sick with bronchitis, so we not COVID, thankfully. But
is that guaranteed? Is that sure at this point?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But we've been productive around the house and getting stuff done. Have a big board game weekend coming up next week where we're going to play Nemesis with some coworkers, which will be really fun. Coworkers are coming into town, which is crazy. Two of my bosses are coming into town to play board games with me, which is kind of crazy. But it'll be really fun. I'm looking forward to it. So I'll be able to talk about that next week. And I'm going to play some Flesh and Blood this week. On Friday, I'm going to go to Smash Palace. There's a new product coming out for Fab, John.
Okay.
It's basically a ready-to-play box. So Smash Palace brings multiplayer melee to Flesh and Blood like never before, which is my favorite type of Flesh and Blood. So could be fun.
So how's it work? What's
it's as simple as crack, shuffle, and play. Crack 3 packs, remove the last 3 cards from each pack, shuffle the rest, and play. To keep pit fighters on their toes, Smash Palace introduces the event deck, when the arena can change with the draw of a card. You better keep your wits with you if you want to win.
So this is a format, not a product.
It is a product.
So can you buy the product?
Yes.
Where do you buy the
It's
product?
called Smash Palace.
Seeing it on TCG Player, but I'm not really. I just went to like sealed product to see if it showed up.
Search Smash Palace. I wonder if it does. I don't know if it pops up or not. MSRP is $69.90.
Smash Palace box set. Interesting.
Ready to play out of the box. Contains 12 Mastery Pack Guardian booster packs, 140 card event deck, 6 hero cards, 12 gold Systemic Surge tokens, a rulebook, 2-player game arenas, so it can be played 2-player, but it's also meant for Ultimate Pit Fight.
So it's. I guess I'm still confused because it sounded like it's just crack, shuffle, play, ultimate pit fight.
With an arena deck that changes the arena.
I guess until I see that, I don't really know what that means.
Same.
Yeah. Okay.
But
like, what would that even do?
Maybe in like, I'm just thinking out of the box here because I don't know. But like maybe you're fighting in a swamp and things cost 1 more to do. Or
Actually, I just found some singles on TCG Player. Choose destroy a gold you control. Choose an opponent. They draw a card until the start of your next turn. Attacks they control that target you get -2 damage.
okay.
Let me buy you a drink. That's what that one's called. Easy Squeeze Bookie Syndicate. Until end of turn, whenever you attack a hero, wager with them. The winner creates 2 gold tokens. Okay, so it's like gold meta mechanic that can affect who you target. Well, wait. Oh, did they take away the rule where you had to fight in a circle, basically?
Maybe. I
Because
haven't played
that, I
Ultimate Pit
mean,
Fight
it's
since like it
talking,
came
yeah,
out.
exactly. It's talking about choosing an opponent.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that only works if you're like in a large circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, interesting.
So it'll be casual and fun. It'll be an interesting thing. It's not me walking into a CC night. So
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely a different way to play, huh?
yeah.
Okay, yeah, these events actually look pretty interesting,
Yeah.
and you can buy the singles. I
Mm-hmm.
guess people are cracking open these boxes and selling the singles.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
guys, just so you know, they're gonna print a lot of this product.
Oh,
This
sure.
is not a speculative product.
No.
Just so I have no idea what's going on. This is the first I'm hearing of this, and I'm telling you right now, this is not a speculative product.
No. No. But I've also still been busy outside of cards this week between work and stuff, and then I was able to finish Light of the Jedi, and then started the second High Republic book, The Rising Storm, which is really good.
Cool.
And a thing happened this week, John.
Hmm.
There was a new World of Warcraft trailer for the new expansion, and I resubbed.
Oh God. Okay. Well, enjoy your crack. I'll see you in 3 months.
Thanks.
Or probably less than that because they don't tend to take that long anymore.
I don't know. The last one was pretty long. Last one was over 6 months. I did a whole season and a
Yeah,
half.
you guys were in it for a season, but you weren't playing that actively for the full season. Like you had a chunk of time where you were like hardcore, and then it like
Oh
died
well,
off.
yeah,
And
and
you
then
had
it
to
just goes
coordinate
to
with
show up
people.
for
Yeah,
raid. Yeah,
that was the thing. Yeah, it was like that's my point. Is that
that's
it's
the treadmill. Yeah, you put a bunch
yeah,
of time in for a little bit, and then you're geared for raid, and then you show up to raid, and that's it. But I'm not raiding this time. I'm just
yeah,
doing
people get tired
casual
of coming to
things right
raid,
now.
and it's hard to show up, hard to get the group together, etc.
Yeah. Well, the raid team's still going. That's not a problem. I'm backing out of the raid for this patch, but we'll come
It
back
was
for
a
the next
problem
one.
for a little bit there. I thought I don't remember what it was. People were gone or something.
Oh yeah, I
There's
mean,
something. There's some period because you talked to me about it, and you're like, "Yeah, we couldn't get it to fire. There wasn't enough people or something."
Oh, there were a couple weeks where like our main tanks were away, and so we didn't. But it was already like we had beaten the raid, so it
Yeah, you
wasn't.
guys were trying to get other people gear, I think you
Yeah,
had said.
yeah.
Yeah.
So not a big deal.
For
And
you.
it's a pretty hard
Poor
reset.
people that didn't have the gear.
Well, so that's the thing is like they've been making the patches are kind of like expansions now that you didn't used to be, because before you would play and have your gear from the previous set carry you for a decent while. Like you could just jump from heroic to heroic pretty much. You could run normal once or twice maybe. But now the eye level's so different, so much more increased that uh, it kind of is a soft reset for the expansion when a patch drops. Like I was running through the campaign stuff on a character that I had like maxed out and done a little bit, maxed out season 1, and then season 2 did a little bit of stuff, but I was replacing all my gear with greens and it felt awful, but uh
It was
is what it is.
awful.
But I mean they're still stronger. They're just weaker.
All right. So I'm just watching this cinematic. It's just cinematic. They don't have gameplay.
They have a separate gameplay trailer
Oh, okay.
where player housing is coming, which is super
Yeah.
exciting.
They've been talking about that for a while. So
And you can have little neighborhoods with your friends, and you can put them in any zone you want, and you can decorate your house however you want, and with a bunch of different. You can go and you get different things for your house by playing the game, and
like village goals too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun. Some of our friends who don't typically play WoW were like, maybe I'll hop in this time. So, maybe should be fun. They'll probably stick around for the first half a patch and then.
Yeah, I was gonna say not long.
But it is a fun time when that happens, because then it's like once every 2 years. Well, now the expansions are coming like once a year. They're coming faster, which I think is good. I think more on ramps for WoW is important right now.
I mean, I wish they'd just kill it already.
That's not going to happen.
It's kind of destroyed Blizzard, unfortunately.
Why?
Like, it used to be a game company that made good games. Now it just makes WoW and nothing else.
Oh, well, yeah. It tried Overwatch. That worked for a little bit. Hearthstone worked for a little bit.
It keeps failing because it lost its ethos because of WoW.
One rumor is that they're bringing back Heroes of the Storm, which would be super fun.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It depends on the dev team. Haven't they lost most of their good game devs?
Yes and no.
Most of their big game engineers or whatever moved on to other companies and or started their own companies.
Yeah, well, the Dreamhaven, that space game that you tried to get me to play, but then we never ended up playing. Wildgate, that's a Dreamhaven game. That's old Blizzard devs.
It was fun. It was enjoyable. It'd be cool with a group, but it was a little bit. I don't know. It was they already have new content, so I don't really want to judge because it was literally the first version of it, and it's like alpha. So it was fine. It played on a loop that I enjoy. I don't know if everyone would enjoy it because you have to kind of coordinate on the shit. It's kind of like Sea of Thieves. You ever play that?
Oh yeah. I love.
It's kind of like that, where it's like somebody has to pilot the ship, and somebody has to be a gunner, and someone has to go jump on the other ships, and you know what I mean. So, and there's all these goals, and there is NPCs, but then it kind of gets to a fast pace. Like now it's PvP towards the end because that's how you win. Is this like specific artifacts you get? In the first part, the PvE is all like looting to gear up. So
that's fair.
It's fun. It's a fun game loop. It's just I don't know if everyone would like that.
Yeah.
Like I don't think your wife would like the PvP.
Not the PvP. No.
Yeah, and
no.
it's definitely.
I told her that, and she was like, "All right, I'm out."
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah. Even in WoW, we don't do PvP. Yeah. I do it by myself. But.
Well, I played some stuff.
Good, because this isn't a video game podcast. Let's talk about some cards.
Well, I was going to talk about a video game.
Oh, we can talk about more video games that you played.
I got the Steam Deck actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I got
Dune
it.
Dune just got Steam Deck verified.
I saw that. I probably won't play on there just because
You could boot
I,
it. I would just
I
try
feel
it.
I like mouse and keyboard for it.
Yeah, yeah.
But I've been playing No Man's Sky on the
Nice.
couch. Yeah, and that's a very chill game. I don't know if you ever played it, but it's
I
like
played it when it
super.
first came out.
Oh,
I know it's very different.
yeah, I was gonna say it was terrible by comparison
Yeah,
when it first came out. It's got a very nice set of loops of like get lost in ADD loops, like
yeah,
I'm doing this thing, I'm doing this thing. Wait, what's that? I'm doing this thing, I'm doing this thing. Wait, what's that? And then you're like, what the hell was I doing?
yep,
Which is fun. I enjoy that. Like just kind of mindless. Like go collect this to create that to build that to do this to that to that to that.
yeah. That's WoW
And they
Quest
have
for
it.
me.
Yeah, they have it really good. They have it really well done so that one, you can keep track of the stuff you forgot to do. Two, you can always find something new to do basically while you're doing things or if you're not sure what to do. And three, they enhance the way the progression starts so that you get to that part much faster. Before it was kind of a struggle and really difficult survival style. And sometimes you just would get screwed. Like your starting planet would just be toxic and you could do nothing but die. None of that exists anymore. They kind of cleaned all the edges up, and now it's nice and easy to play and fun and smooth and nice progression, et cetera, et cetera.
Nice. Is it true multiplayer yet?
I don't know.
Okay.
I know it exists. I just don't know how well it works or what it is. I know
Yeah.
when I
When it came
tried
out,
it
it was like
years ago.
technically you could land on the same planet, but then also they advertised that there are so many planets.
Yeah, no. That technically in the beginning you couldn't really
Yeah.
find each other. It does exist and can happen. I don't know what it's like today. Some time ago, because I played a couple years ago. I think me and a buddy were able to meet up and like do some stuff together. But the reality is it was a little jank and kind of hard to figure out. And now it's probably easier and better. I have seen real humans in the game already, so if that's a sign of
That's a
it
sign.
working
Yeah.
well. Yeah, because before you never saw anyone
Yeah.
ever. And so now I have, and I just visited a random person's base a second ago. So yeah, totally more interactive than it ever has been. That being said, I don't know if there's real true multiplayer co-op stuff.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah, it's fun though. And then on the card side, going back to the topic of the podcast, I am vaguely building Hazel Root Bloom, which is the squirrel precon.
Oh, nice.
I found her randomly. I was, sorting cards or whatever. And I found her. And I was like, oh, that seems like a cool card. I want to build something around that. I did not realize she was one of the precons because this was like a
Yeah.
full art card.
Yeah.
That's part of what got my attention is like the full art's really cool. It's tap, pay 2 life, tap X untap tokens you control, add X mana any color combination, and then at the beginning of your end step, create a token that's a copy of a target token you control. If that token is a squirrel, instead create 2 tokens that are copies of it. So it's just Squirrel Storm.
Yeah.
Seems fun and seems like it can get out of control. Also, black green, which is one of my favorite color combinations. So I started to build it as I was looking for EDH rec and stuff like that. First, I actually started just my cards. I started, flipping through finding squirrels,
Yeah.
which I actually have some old school cool squirrels that I'm going to try to put in,
I
like
do
the
too. I'll
dwarf,
pull that
the
deck
elf
out.
damage, deranged hermit. I actually have one of those. I got them when everyone was hyping about it. I got it before everyone was hyping about it, and it blew up in price. And I was like, holy crap, I should sell this. And I was like, nah, because I might want to make squirrels someday. So have that deck.
I have a Popper Squirrels deck. Maybe
You
I'll look
have
at.
a Popper Squirrels deck?
Yeah, we made.
When did you
We
do that?
remember we made Popper Commander decks. I made a Squirrels one.
I didn't. I don't remember
Yeah.
that. I
Yeah.
don't remember you making a squirrel deck. Anyways,
Yeah. I got the mat and
uh,
everything.
oh, that's hilarious. Anyways, so I've been working on that. But now that I found out that that is one of the precons, I'm like less likely to do it because most
Yeah.
of the EDH rec is just the precon with upgrades.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to just make something different. So either I'm going to go through and manually figure it out, which is kind of a pain in the butt, or maybe I buy the precon and upgrade it. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But it being a precon when I wanted to just build out of the blue,
Yeah.
definitely slows me down on wanting to actually get it done.
That's fair.
We'll see. I might drop off. I still have a pile of other commanders that I'm looking at that I want to potentially build as well.
Nice. Yeah, she looks fun.
Yeah, I like Golgari colors. Like this is one of my favorites. That's Dina.
I wonder if they named it around the Hazel from Watership Down.
Probably. I feel like the entire set is Watership Down
Yeah,
references. Like
yeah,
that's kind of the point, you know, to bring kids,
yeah.
kids in and all
Oh
that.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And you know how often Magic builds entire sets basically reflecting some pop culture thing,
Yeah.
like Harry Potter. I mean, Strixhaven.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Um, like how many of those exist? There's so many.
Yeah.
So many.
Oh, there's a bunch.
But that's it for me. No real card gaming this week.
Cool. Well, Spider-Man, we got confirmed that more play boosters are coming. Do not be concerned. That rumor was false.
Totally
Um,
false.
however, boxes didn't really dip. They went from 210 to 205. So they're hovering right around MSRP, which is 209.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to continue to happen because people like anyone who grabbed it expecting to speculate on this rumor, blah blah blah, and they're going to dump, because they know that there's a timer on this price.
Yeah.
There will be another, you know, rollout, and people will have what they want, and most of the market will be satisfied by the time that happens, most likely.
Yeah. Yeah, and the closest thing we can compare to is Final Fantasy, right? And stores are saying that they're getting less Spider-Man play and collector than Final Fantasy. I've heard that from multiple people now.
I should hope so.
Because we've heard and confirmed all the stuff about how they just turned the printers on and cut back other things so that they could print more Final Fantasy, and we'll get into that in the main topic in a little bit. But yeah, I've been watching the current quantity of play boxes for Final Fantasy on TCG Player, and it was bouncing around 200 to 300 for a long time, and then it stopped, and then it dipped below 200, and it hasn't really gone up in a significant number in a while. We're currently at 111. And we're over 240 for a play box, with the expected reprint coming November, December, probably
Tommy,
alongside Avatar.
major crash incoming. Final Fantasy 1999 for an empty collector box. That's way down from the $50 peak of the empty box. Excuse my language, but there's like 20 of these for sale right now under the collector box.
Yeah,
So annoying. I hate that.
it's very annoying.
But also the empty box has crashed in price, which is kind of funny that that's the thing.
Yeah. Oh no.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, Spider-Man's still in that 200 to 300 range. There's plenty of it right now. But by the end of the year,
too.
and yeah.
So keep that in mind because only some people can sell it pre-sale.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So it will come down.
Will it?
Yes. I'm guaranteeing that it will come down at some point.
Yes. Yes. At some point.
When they reprint, it will go down.
I'm thinking
When
the
it comes
second
out,
reprint.
it might go down depending on how many other sellers actually have it and are selling. Because that's the thing. The big question on that for TCG player data is like, okay, they get less than Final Fantasy, as you said.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a regular shop. I'm not pre-selling. I don't do the TCG pre-sale, right? I use TCG for overstock stuff, right? That's the majority of stores, I think.
Yeah.
My local community is really in on Spider-Man, not really in on Spider-Man. If they're really in on Spider-Man, no extra end up on TCG player. If
Yep.
they are not, then extra end up on TCG player. So that's the question mark on the going beyond pre-sale timing. What happens is how much of the fan base of Spider-Man is in these local TCGs and how much did they manage to get versus how much demand there is in those local TCGs. Because that will, if it's mismatched at all, then you'll hit TCG player
Yeah.
and drop. But how much? Probably not much. I don't really see it going under 200 for long at all, if at all.
No, no. And I secured mine well below 200, so I don't know. I'm not worried about either Final Fantasy or Spider-Man, even with reprints for the next 2 to 3 years hitting 140. Maybe they will, but
I doubt it,
yeah,
honestly. Well, short of economic crash or something.
of course, yeah, yeah. Uh, but leading into our main topic this week, we had some Maro um, posts on his Tumblr. This is a question to all Universe Beyond naysayers. Is there anything that can happen with the product where you can accept that it's had a positive effect on Magic as a whole? Now, neither of us are Universes Beyond naysayers.
I'm probably
You're
closest.
closer. You're
Yeah.
closer.
The answer is no, Maro. No. It doesn't matter how good it is. It's terrible because you brought weird stuff into my Magic world instead of just building out the Magic world. That's the naysayer approach to it.
Yeah.
And the reality is that's actually what's happening. Everyone's just whining and complaining because they don't like that their thing has changed. Their sweaty, no real IP of any sort of comprehensible story sort game that was only allowing, the disaffected to sit in TCG shops and no one else.
Yeah.
That thing is dead. It's
Yeah.
gone, guys. It's over. It's been over for a while.
Yeah.
WotC changed that direction like over a decade ago, and the Universes Beyond is just kind of like the cherry on top of that shift, And it's them slowly culminating to let's make this broad market, let's make this acceptable and fun by all types of demographics, not just the sweaty nerds, right? And I'm a sweaty nerd, so don't like. I'm not. It's not a down,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
going on people. That's me just saying like
Yeah.
it's for more than just us. Um, so they went broad market with it. That started with the flashy stuff. That started with the pretty stuff. That started with the, more girly stuff. Do you guys remember My Little Pony when that came out a million years ago? That was part of that initial move, right? Secret
Mm-hmm.
layers, special IPs. You can see how this is a snowball that built to hit a wider and wider market,
Yeah.
and it has been successful, as they are saying. And now they're just going to other sweaty nerd types like Final Fantasy sweaty nerds because they're sweaty nerds too.
And speaking of Final Fantasy, the other one, because they kind of tie together,
Mm.
we anticipate for on this is him commenting on Final Fantasy availability. We anticipated a great demand. We prepared for a great demand. We were ready for something on the scope we had never seen before, and it turned out we weren't even close to the actual demand.
Yeah,
They
as
sold
everyone has seen.
they sold more Final Fantasy than Lord of the Rings has to date
Yeah, they in pre-orders.
in pre-orders.
Yeah, Tommy, you remember how you're like, I think Lord of the Rings is bigger. It's definitely not. Not
It's
even close.
not.
Not
No.
even not even a little bit of a glimmer of a wick to the flame that is Final Fantasy passion.
Lord of the Rings draft box is still more expensive than a Final Fantasy play box
So that's
by like
irrelevant.
$10.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's irrelevant. And was it this expensive in the same amount of time since
No,
release as Final
no,
Fantasy?
and it's also
Exactly.
36 packs and not 30, and yeah,
So it isn't then by on a
per
per pack
pack
basis.
basis, but
Yeah.
on a box basis.
No, no, no. Don't bend the stats to suit your narrative.
I have
Lord of
both, so it's fine.
yeah, Lord of the Rings is smaller, which I'll be honest. I know we debated back and forth on this. I wasn't sure.
Yeah,
I was like, I think it's less, but I don't know. Lord of the
yeah,
Rings, I don't know.
yeah. But also, there wasn't just like this I don't think Lord of the Rings brought in as much people as Final Fantasy did.
Uh, Probably not.
But is that because Lord of the Rings people were already into Magic?
That's a factor, right? That's definitely a factor. I think the other side of it is a lot of the Lord of the Rings people that predate your time frame of Lord of the Rings, i.e., the movies being the cultural theme,
Mhm.
are book nerds and not
Yeah,
TCG player nerd types, right? Like I know a ton of nerds that are just like bibliophile types. They don't really do TCGs. They might do some board games, but they're the
Yeah.
more, crunchy board games, right? Like they're a very specific subset of nerd.
Yeah.
And they would not be pulled into Magic no matter what you did, right? Because they've
Right.
been a nerd for a long time, and their
If
experience
they
with
would have, they
Magic nerds
yeah.
is the old sweaty, way it used to be, right?
Yeah.
Where everyone's just like kind of socially
Yeah.
incompatible with other types of nerds, I'll just say.
Yeah.
So I think it's just less of a crossover for the older type of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And since that's a good chunk of the demographic, right? Then you have your version, which is the I grew up on the movies type, right? Which is definitely feeding on that crowd more than anything else.
Yeah.
And you get some of them, like the U's in the world. But I'd say some of them maybe not, I
Yeah.
had this
That's
one
fair.
girl in college I dated that was super into it, loved Aragorn, right? All this whole thing,
How
right?
could you
Was
not?
bibliophile, right? Like super book nerd. 0% chance she was interested in playing Magic because of that.
Yeah.
0%.
Yeah,
So,
you have to have like some kind of feigning interest before
yeah,
it's not just going to pull you in based on the IP. You have to have
yeah.
some kind of
Well,
interest.
and here's the thing: Lord of the Rings, by its default nature, isn't game.
Correct.
Final
Yeah.
Fantasy,
Is
by
game.
its default nature, is game.
Yeah.
Therefore, gaming more aligned with gaming, right?
Yeah.
So and on top of that, like Final Fantasy is a crunchy game, which I feel
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
definitely leans into things like Magic with the too much text on the cards, figure out how these interactions happen, stuff.
Yeah. I get it. I get that.
So that does make sense. I did not assess that earlier, as we talked about. I was like, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
So
But
there we
still,
go.
it's just the amount of demand is wild.
It's unbelievable, and clearly, it has had an effect on Magic. Is it positive, Morrow? Is it really positive to have Cloud running around with his big sword in my Magic world?
I mean, if more players are at the tables.
I'll be honest. I think it is like
Hmm?
I think it is positive
Yeah.
overall. Like it's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
It's like I like having more people to play Magic with. I like the fact that you get weird commanders at the table and you're looking around and you're like, oh my god, there's a dinosaur fighting an alien, fighting a Warhammer 40K Chaos guy, fighting Cloud.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like think
I
about
like that. I love thinking about like what this would actually look like if this was the fight that was happening.
yeah. But it's like for my birthday thing, right? When we were drafting Spider-Man, it's I wouldn't have even attempted doing that if it was just a normal Magic set. But it's
Yeah.
because it's Spider-Man, I was able to get people to be like, "Yeah, I'll try that." So, but that's my circle is if they see something Spider-Man, 9 times out of 10 they'll be like, "All right, yeah, I'll try that."
And that's positive.
Yeah.
I think that's the real question in the framing is what do you consider positive for Magic?
Being able to get more friends to the table is positive for me.
Yeah, well, and that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
Like ultimately, I say yes, but
Yeah.
I understand where there's people that say no, and it's because it's changing what they've been playing for 20 years,
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it.
and they're just defensive of what they're comfortable with.
Yeah.
Too bad. The world changes. Learn to adapt. Only constant is change. If you're unadaptable, you're going to struggle with life because life is nothing but change.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about getting old. Suddenly, things
Back in my
change
day.
and your bones ache. And you're like, God damn it. I used to be able to do this all the time. Now I can't do it anymore. That's change. It
Back in
happens
my
to all
day,
of us.
we complained about Rick Grimes being in Magic the Gathering.
I don't know who that is.
The first universe
Oh, the
beyond Secret
Walking
Lair,
Dead.
Walking Dead.
Yeah, that wasn't that long ago.
It was John.
It wasn't.
It was over 5 years ago.
Yeah, since we've been playing, that's not
Yeah.
that long ago. For Magic's history, that's
No,
not that
I
long
know,
ago.
I know, but I'm just saying, that was the beginning of the
No,
snowball.
I was gonna say back in my day, we complained about phasing. That's my day of complaining because that rule was confusing as hell. That was before they rewrote the rules.
Okay, Grandma, let's get you back to the nursing home. Oh, I don't know. I just
It's actually
think.
one of the reasons I stopped playing because we fought about the rules so much. And it was like that's why they redid the rules because they were incredibly unclear how
Yeah.
they were originally written. They didn't have I can't remember exactly how they restructured it, but I think the stack didn't exist, or maybe it was the way it was resolved was goofy, and so it left a lot of ambiguity on how things played off each other.
Hmm.
And that's why they redid it because people were constantly fighting. This is back before the internet could answer every question for you.
Yeah. I also saw a post that was basically comparing standard prices of decks to modern prices, and they're basically the same price. So standard
You say
affordability has definitely gone down, and I think that is a warning sign, because that is bad news, and I think it's because of this playbox deficit that we're in.
Wait, you got to explain this again. Standard
So
versus
if I
modern.
was going to go
Yeah.
buy a deck to get into a format, typically you would look at standard and see cheaper decks than modern. But
Is that true?
yeah, standard decks are expensive right now.
I thought standard was always more expensive because there's only the cards that just came out and the demand's always high for those cards in the beginning because of that.
No.
Yeah, I don't recall standard being cheaper than modern. Although I never really looked at the price of modern decks, so I don't have much to go on for that.
Yeah. Yeah, standard was always a lot cheaper. Which there are some standard decks that are cheaper, but they standard decks would usually jump between like 2 to 500 max. Now there's most of them are 500 or above.
Hmm.
But there are still some that are cost effective. But
I don't even know if anyone plays standard other than draft.
standard is not draft.
There is a standard draft.
Well, that's just the current draft.
Yeah,
There's not
that's that's a
modern
thing.
draft. Modern draft
I,
would just be
I
a
mean,
box from
I
that
guess
time.
technically that could exist. I don't think it does, but draft for old boxes, right? That are
Yeah.
out of standard, right?
Yeah.
That would technically be a modern
Modern
draft if you were
draft.
going to
Yeah.
do it. Yeah.
But modern includes standard. So wouldn't it technically be both?
Oh yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, that's a good point.
That's why I just call it limited. Uh,
But limited doesn't say shit. That doesn't say what the format is. That doesn't say anything. Because you could,
it's true.
like
You could play
there's a
sealed. You could play
lot of different.
draft.
Yeah, I was gonna
You
say
could
there's a
play.
lot of different limited formats even in standard, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I'm excited to try the pick 2 draft for Spider Man.
Yeah, be interesting.
It'll be fun. We should have 2 pods going if everyone shows up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's the max in a pod? 4?
4.
Okay, that would be
Um,
fun.
yeah. I think it's
Just see
technically
some lead.
4 or 3 to 7, but or 4 to 7, but 4 is what it's designed for.
Well, yeah, let's just stick with that then.
Yeah. Yeah. It should be fun. Let me just see. Yeah, 4 to 7. 40 card deck. One-on-one games after the draft. Players should play 2 rounds with the winning player from the first round pairing up, and the 2 players. Yeah, so then you have the 2 winners of the pair of 4 play each other, and then the 2 losers play each other. But
Have
I
you
don't know.
studied your cards? Are you ready to
No, not yet.
conquer your own tournament?
Not yet. Because even though we're getting all these Avatar cards, we don't have all the Spider-Man cards yet.
I don't know if we're gonna get them.
Could be cool. I don't know. I wouldn't mind going in a little blind. But I know one of my friends is already following the set and reading every card, and not someone who typically plays Magic either. So
Hmm.
I found that
Are they good
fascinating.
at card games though?
They're good at
Like, is this
Hearthstone.
okay? So it's just a bit of a threat.
Nah,
Wow,
they never
harsh.
they never
I'm gonna tell
drafted.
them what you said. No, I'm just
You
kidding.
can't. They never drafted before.
Okay, they're fine then.
Yeah,
They're gonna have analysis paralysis in real life. I know how that goes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Watching
honestly,
a lot of
them
guys.
reading the cards as much as they are is just will be good.
Yeah, it helps them be ready to actually play.
Yeah, yeah,
Gotcha. Yeah, it'll be fun. We'll figure it out. It'll be a
yeah.
mess. It always is.
Not supposed to be super competitive, just fun.
Oh no. Try hard. Try hard central.
It'll be fun.
I will say on the shop, sales have slowed down a lot. No more boxes have sold, so I really do feel like we've hit the current top
Yeah,
for.
most of the collector boxes are plateauing.
Yep, we hit the step, and now it's stepping time, and then it will be catch up time for any that didn't do this move. So take a look
Crimson
back at the
Vow
old. Yeah,
is about
exactly.
to hit
Look at the
200
old
bucks.
ones that are yeah, exactly, and they won't be impressive, but they will slowly keep up.
Yeah.
So that's definitely coming next, and then and we'll see if there's any more juice in this. But I don't think so. I think we're done for the time. It was exciting. I did manage to sell some, so I'm happy about that. Ah, interesting. I missed this Final Fantasy Secret Layer drop. These are pretty. Prismatic Ending, Cyclonic Rift, Dam, Lightning Bolt, and Heroic Intervention, but they're all like, renamed and reskinned.
Mm-hmm.
The art's really nice. I didn't see that.
Yeah. Crazy time.
One thing we failed to talk about, but said we would talk about, was the bending mechanic.
Oh yeah, you want to talk about that? I don't know much about it.
Uh, it's weird. It's gonna jank up some formats, I believe. The one I'm most interested in is the earthbending, I believe, where you can turn a land into a creature
Oh yeah.
and with haste, and it can attack, and then if it dies, it comes back, which I think is a perfect way to represent the idea of lifting up some land and throwing it at someone.
I mean, that's basically what happened in the show.
Exactly. That's why I was like, what? This mechanic is so weird. And then I thought about it, I was like, actually, this mechanic is absolutely perfect. It does exactly what it should be doing.
And if
You're
it
taking
dies,
their
it just
land, you're
becomes a land
slapping.
again, right?
That's exactly right. It comes back. That's why I was like, I don't understand this cycle of like what's it. And then when I thought about like the show, I was like, oh, yeah, actually that's perfect. That's
Yeah.
exactly what it should
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Now, is it going to be completely abused? Yes,
Yes.
absolutely
Yes.
will. There will be some mechanic, hijinks where it's, you'll cycle lands or the landfall thing will happen or something. I don't know. It will come into some synergy with land that's going to be nuts. I'm here for it. I'm excited for that, especially with my recent World Shaper
Mm-hmm.
deck that will probably be able to abuse some of it. I hear that I believe it was water bending is kind of busted because it reduces cost basically when you do
That
it.
seems silly. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the fire bending just gives mana, I believe. So those are kind of the three mechanics. And then air bending, I think there's either none or only one card that does air bending.
So far.
Well, also Last Airbender, right? There shouldn't be that many airbending cards.
But there are
It's
going to be
somewhat
multiple Aang cards. I can tell you that. There's been multiple Spider-Man cards.
sure, but it still won't be that common if it's even
Sure.
a
I
mechanic
get
for
it's
most
not
of
going
it.
to be an archetype thing.
It's just, I mean, at least that's how I suspect it would be. Yeah, who knows? Um, but anyway, so that's gonna mess up some formats, and we'll see how it plays out and what it actually touches. But I'm excited for the earthbending. At least I think that's funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the one that stood out to me.
That's because that's the one I sent you.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't send you the other ones.
No, I'm trying not to look at it too far. It's so far. We still have like
When
3
is that
months.
one come out? Yeah, when's that one?
3 months, November.
Is it? Okay. That's real close actually.
Yeah,
I know it feels like it's far, but fall goes so
I
fast.
know. I know. It's gonna be here
It's
before we
like
know it.
I know. I'm like, oh god. only a few more days until September, and then it will be January because that's what happens every freaking year.
Yeah.
It's not just in product releases, it's just busy life, busy work, busy social events. It gets nuts.
Yeah.
I Yeah, I was scheduling something the other day and I was like, "Oh my God."
But also, so here's the thing. Typically cards pick up in the fall,
When you say pick up, what do you mean?
sales wise.
Yeah, holiday sale.
Yeah. Summer's
Yes.
pretty
Yeah.
usually
Uh,
dead and we had this crazy market. So what happens
yeah.
this fall?
Probably worse, yeah. Because anyone who's, gonna get the collector box of this, that, or the other for their kid for Christmas, that's gonna be a factor. Yeah, I mean, I suspect, all things staying where they are, right? Like no major economic
Yeah.
downturns or whatever, which I think is pretty reasonable suspicion at this point. Um, Look like we'll have a big, fall. We'll see where it lands, but I guess there's some macro effects that could say otherwise, but generally speaking, it doesn't seem to be hitting cards too heavily
Mm-mm.
yet. So,
And if we get rate cuts,
well, that's part of the all things look like that's the
yeah.
case
Yeah.
for fall.
Which would be
So,
really good for my work because that's when we have our conference and everyone could be really excited about that.
yeah, should we jump into it then?
Let's do it.
All right, economics. So much fun. The most important part of this is Jay Powell had his last, what do they call it, Jackson Hole conference meeting, whatever event, and had his speech and essentially said some very interesting things. The first and foremost was that the health of the labor market is in a precarious balance and in a kind of a declining form. So, i.e., the demand for people is matching the demand for jobs evenly, but they're on a declining balance. So ultimately, everyone is taking this to say that the job market's a little weak and that they are not afraid to cut rates. Because I think he actually said that, which is something they don't say very often, hence the market getting so excited about it.
Right.
Essentially saying, yes, rate cuts seem like a good idea. He didn't say it that way, but it's something to the effect of yes, rate cuts. And so everyone's like, woo, rate cuts. Next opportunity for that is September, and then I think the one after that is maybe October and December. I can't remember. There's a couple different windows. Um, so people are now starting to bet: is it 25 basis points in September, October, and December, or is it 25 now, hold 25 later? What's it look like? That's where the all the money is moving around, sloshing around, trying to figure that out. I think it's worth noting that some of the language used in what he said and around that is important because if you understand what he's talking about and the implications of it, he is hinting that they're seeing stagflationary signs. The fact that he did warn continually about inflation and the impacts of tariffs, which we know have an inflationary effect, and the fact that he worried about a decline in jobs that are currently in balance. And some people are speculating that's about immigration policies that are removing a bunch of workers from the economy, but then also a declining economy is making it match. So the fact that there's not people that are jobless because there's less people
Right.
is a thing. But when you look at it as far as GDP and productivity, guess what? That means GDP is going down. So you're like in a recession essentially, even though it's not a jobless recession, right? Like a,
Mm-hmm.
unemployed recession. When that happens, that's part of a stagflationary equation that we've talked about. And then you add in tariff inflation. So the cost of everything just going up while you have this declining productivity, GDP, et cetera. That's stagflation classic, and there's no way around that at that point. Like the Fed won't be able to maneuver to do much about it. It does sound like they're gonna try to tip the scale towards interest rate drops, and if that happens, you do get a lot more liquidity, i.e., box prices will go up. Um, or let's not say that because I don't know if box prices will go up on cards. But what I do know is that there will be a lot more liquidity in the market searching for returns. And when that happens, we
Yeah.
see speculation and speculative bubbles in various forms of liquid and non liquid assets. Everything from crypto, which will probably be one of the first things to be boosted by it because it's very liquid,
Right.
to boxes, which are less liquid, but also something that can be a highly speculative market. You're going to see across the risk spectrum and liquidity spectrum, a flow of things back to risk on assets, where we've mostly been seeing a flow away from it over the past, call it year or so. Um, what that looks like on the other side, if you do end up with this inflationary prices, deflationary economy, uh, like once we're in a full stagflation situation, I don't know what that will end up being, and it'll be hard to actually see it because of the data uncertainty that we're seeing. And the same is true for a new Fed. We don't know how they're going to behave. Like clearly, it's someone that Trump likes. That's the whole goal, right, of finding someone new. That said, he liked Jay Powell. He put him in there. So he's a fickle man. Like what he likes doesn't necessarily lead to anything of any substance. And the new person may be dictated by the realities around them, i.e., the Fed is not a monarchy, right? It's not one person that makes the decision. It's like 30 people that
Right.
come
Vote
to
on.
the
Yeah.
decision. So, yeah. Um, so even if it's someone that's like, let's just do what Trump wants, it doesn't mean that's what happens, right? And even if it does, like, what is that? What are the implications of that on the economy, given that Trump clearly doesn't understand a lot of these things? Like, he can say something and say everyone reacts to what he says, and then there's more uncertainty and confusion, right? Because it's not a stable way, because he'll switch his mind the second he gets a negative outcome. That's the problem with these complex topics. You can't just go on feeling. You have to use complex data to analyze the complex topic to figure out the best route through it, and that's just not his style. Um, so speaking of his style, I guess he just somehow negotiated that theoretically the U.S. government now owns 10% of Intel in order to give them grants, which I believe is technically called bribery and illegal, but I'm not sure how they're getting around all that. Um, but one thing it definitely is socialism, because when the state owns corporations,
Yeah.
owns the means of production, that's socialism or communism, depending on how you want to slice it.
Yeah.
That's a centralized control of private markets and private production. That is literally what communists were all about, because they hated that capital had that control, right? That was the whole communist uprising, was to take that control and centralize it under a bureaucratic state. So I guess we're communists now. Trump is. I don't know. For Intel, at least.
Yeah.
There's some weird arguments that could be made around it. Obviously, it's only 10%. It's not fully owned by the state, right? So it's like a partial, if it
Right.
is at
Right.
all. The kickback feel of this is also a weird one, where now it's like, was this just plutocracy, right? Is this just, you know, taking bribes to give people favors, sort of thing, like that kind of corruption sort of deal? I don't know. It's a weird one. But yeah, state owned private industry ain't great. It wasn't great when the state took over banks to try to save them after the recession that caused major market twists and turns, which actually led to a lot of what we see today, and had definite corruption in it, because some got that protection, others did not, and were killed. And a lot of the decision on who we know now years later, like Bear Stearns, uh, that collapsed out of someone being pissy about some personal stuff between the CEO and the people with authority. Yeah, we now know that is a factor in why they were sent to die. This is why humans should not be the managers of things like this. They're so
No.
bad at it. They're petty and emotional, and it just does not work when you want an economy. Like, a free market requires removing humans from the decision making,
Yes.
because we don't keep things free. That's what the LIBOR scandal was about. That's what all that was about. It's what crypto was invented to try to avoid, because it
Yeah.
removes the humans. Um, yeah. Anyways, it's just a weird one. So yeah, technically socialism or whatever. Something else to look at that kind of ties into the inflation, stagflation, whatever. Um, there is a major cut in soy production in the U.S. this year because the price was below productive costs. And then so when they were planting last spring, remember, so this is before um, any of the tariff stuff was in place before. I'm trying to think the exact timing. Maybe some of the tariff stuff was in place at that point.
Or being
Point
threatened
being,
first. And
yeah, I think it was just threatened. Yeah, at that point. Point being, they looked at the market. Farmers in the U.S. looked at the market, said soy will be hard to sell into this market at a profit. So let's plant corn because corn is subsidized in the U.S. pretty heavily. Basically, any amount of corn that can be produced, it will be consumed by the U.S. government. It's kind of a guarantee that was put into place like over 100 years ago,
mm-hmm.
specifically to avoid starvation. Back then, it was about having enough surplus to make sure everyone was fed. Even if it didn't make sense economically, the government would step in to make it make sense so that there was enough food. This was Dust Bowl times, that sort of period where people were literally starving. So it made sense. It was a policy that's carried forward. It's now been industrialized with the corn industry. It's one of the reasons we have corn syrup and everything. Because of that, it's a way to try to find a productive use of this excess corn. Point being, last year, soy was no longer a good idea for market reasons. Corn looked like the safe bet. Everyone produced corn. And apparently, this year, I just read a report. The productive capability on corn this year was out of control, i.e., everybody produced more than they expected to produce. Guess what happens when you have too many booster boxes?
The price goes down.
Yeah, you crash. Guess what happens when you bet on this being a subsidized product that could get you a profit, and then you throw tariffs in there where most of the subsidized product was getting sold overseas.
You don't have anywhere to put the corn.
That's right. So it crashes even harder. So one of two things is going to happen. The U.S. is going to once again bail out corn producers, which is kind of the guarantee. But that will cost the U.S. government billions and billions of dollars, and they will have to borrow more and more for it. So all the budget deficits you've heard about, big beautiful bill, how much it's going to cost,
Mm-hmm.
I forget what it is, 10 trillion over 10 years or something. I don't remember. It was huge numbers that we've never seen before. Unbelievable levels of debt that put markets in a state of I don't know if I should buy U.S. debt anymore. When that happens, that's really bad. That's that Liz Truss moment we've talked about in the past.
Yeah.
We're looking at adding to that fear factor by quite a bit because of this farm situation. So that is coming to pass at the same time. So unless Trump gets a deal worked out where someone buys our corn, look at more deficit spending basically coming up within the next 6 months as the crops come in. Yeah, that one's actually kind of nerve wracking because that's foundational to the U.S. And, food production is key to stability of every country. So that one gets a little bit weird because if a bunch of farmers go out of business, that means there's no one to produce food next year. Food's important. I don't know if you know this. You guys know that? Food, pretty important. So it creates a very twisted market situation, unfortunately. So we'll see how it plays out. Hopefully the farmers can continue to produce food for everyone because we like to eat. I like to eat.
Yeah.
That's all I got for economics today.
One thing that I just wanted to tie onto that, bringing up the big beautiful bill, for 2025 taxes, the original threshold of 20,000 in gross payments and 20,000 and 200 transactions per year was reinstated for the 1099K threshold, which was brought down to 600.
I was gonna say you're gonna have to give some more context on that.
So, like, if you're selling on TCG Player and eBay, the last couple of years, if you sold over $600, you had to report it, and now it's up back to the $20,000 gross payment.
Oh, okay.
So,
I mean, you still have to report it.
Yeah.
It's just they don't report it.
Right.
So don't cheat your taxes, guys, especially on $20,000 in sales, because guess what? You will regret that.
No, I know. But
don't listen to Tommy. He's giving you bad advice.
I'm just saying a thing that affects with the big beautiful bill.
Yeah.
But cool. Well, anything else before we call this a podcast?
That's all I got.
Cool. Well, if the world's still spinning next week, we'll catch you guys later.
Have a good one.